Los Angeles nights are always loud, but my story begins in silence. My name is Zara Collins, and this is the night my life split into two parts, before and after. That night, I was alone in my apartment. My laptop was open, lines of code scrolling across the screen, but my attention kept drifting back to my phone. My little sister, Lee. Her last message came 3 hours ago. I had replied, but after that, nothing. Ellie was never like this. She could be late, busy, but ignore me. Never. I told myself, relax, Zara. Don't overthink it. But deep down, something felt wrong. 11:47 p.m. The doorbell rang. Once, then non-stop. Urgent, impatient, like whoever was outside couldn't wait. Open the door, please. Are you Zara Collins? He nodded. One of the officers spoke immediately. Your sister has been arrested for murder. Time didn't slow down. Sped up. Questions flooded my mind. Who was murdered? Why, Ellie. Murder. Had to be a mistake. But it wasn't. At the station, surrounded by cold walls, saw her, Lee, sitting there, in an orange jumpsuit. Her hands were shaking, but her eyes were empty. Zara, she whispered. I didn't do anything. Her voice was so weak, like she didn't even believe herself anymore. What happened? I asked softly. She went silent, then held her head in both hands. I don't remember. That answer triggered something inside me. Memory loss. That wasn't normal. Then I saw the case file. That's when the doubt started. Victim, Ethan Cross. Financial broker. With powerful connections. The evidence was too clean. Too perfect. Her fingerprints on the weapon. CCTV footage. Her entering the building. Blood on her clothes. If you look at it, the conclusion is simple. Ellie is guilty. But I work with patterns. Numbers. Logic. And this pattern was wrong. The trial started and ended too fast, like the result was already decided. The prosecutor spoke. The judge listened. The lawyer barely tried. Ellie kept repeating, I didn't do it. But in court, truth doesn't matter. Proof does. And proof can be created. Life imprisonment. One sentence, and her life was gone. That night, I went back to my apartment. The room was dark, only my laptop glowing in the silence. I opened the CCTV footage. Again and again, slowed it down, zoomed in, frame by frame, and then I saw it. Glitch. Teeny. Almost invisible. But I caught it. One frame missing. A timing mismatch in her steps. I checked the timestamps. Consistent mismatch. Then I looked at the fingerprint report. Perfect alignment. No smudges. No errors. Too perfect. Leaned back. My heartbeat steady. No fear. Just realization. This isn't an accident. I whispered. This is designed. In that moment, I knew. Ellie was framed. And whoever did this wasn't outside the system. They controlled it. And if I wanted the truth, I had to stop playing by the rules. That night, I made a decision. To save my sister, I would lose myself. My name is Zara Collins. And that night, I decided to become the one they fear. That wasn't just a line. It was a decision. And decisions change you. The next morning, I didn't call the police. Didn't call a lawyer. I gave the system one chance. I gave my sister a life sentence. It was my turn. I opened my laptop. But this time, not legal databases. I went somewhere else. The dark web. Encrypted layers unfolded on the screen. Anonymous chats. Hidden forums. Illegal deals. Before, it was just data. It was a path. I searched. Fake evidence. Evidence manipulation. Fixers in California. Most of it was garbage. Dead ends. Until one name kept appearing. Over and over again. Caleb Drake. No photo. No official record. Just one reputation. He can get anything done. That's exactly what I needed. Took me 3 days to reach him. Codes, redirects, hidden links. Finally, a message box opened. Why are you here? I type. Because someone framed my sister. Silence. Go to the police. I smiled slightly. If the police were the solution, I wouldn't be here. This time. The reply took longer. Meet me. Location dropped. An old warehouse in Los Angeles. 2 a.m. It could have been a trap. But I had nothing left to lose. I went. Dark. Me. And in the center. Man. Zara Collins, he said. Without asking. I walked straight up to him. Caleb Drake. He smirked. Depends. What do you want? Truth. He shook his head. Wrong place. I held his gaze. I don't want truth. I want access. His smile faded. Access to what? To the people who create evidence. Silence. He studied me. Evaluating. Do you understand this game? He asked. Yes. This isn't court. It's war. He stepped closer. And in war, there are no rules. That's why I'm here. Silence. He said. Fine. One condition. What? Once you're in, you don't get out. I didn't hesitate. I'm already out. He looked at me for a few seconds, then smiled. Welcome to the real world, Zara. That night, he gave me a new identity. Fake ID. Encrypted phone. And a new name. Nix. You're not Zara Collins anymore, he said. You don't exist in the system. I looked at the phone. Blank screen. No contacts. No history. Exactly what I needed. Over the next few days, I learned things I never should have. How to disappear. How to break into restricted systems. How to read people. And manipulate them. But most importantly, I learned one thing. In this world, trust is a luxury. Caleb was teaching me. But I was watching him too. Because in this game, even your teacher can be your enemy. One night, he said casually, the case you stepped into isn't small. How big is it? Yes. He paused, then said, big enough that even if you want out, you won't get it. I looked at him. I don't want out. He smiled slightly, but there was a warning in his eyes. Good. Because your first target is ready. He slid a file toward me. Name. Ethan Cross. My heartbeat stopped. For a second. The victim. I whispered. Caleb shook his head. No. Gateway. That one word flipped a switch in my head. Ethan Cross. The man everyone called a victim. Wasn't a victim at all. He was an entry point. Which meant, my sister didn't touch the wrong person. She touched the wrong world. Explain, I said. Caleb leaned back in his chair. Unbothered. Ethan Cross wasn't a saint, he began. He moved money for very powerful people. Clean money became dirty. Dirty money became invisible. Money laundering. Yes. Deeper than that, he replied. Blackmail funds. Political payoffs. Offshore accounts. He wasn't just an accountant. He was the bridge. Bridge. Gateway. Now it was starting to make sense. And Ellie? I asked quietly. Caleb didn't answer directly. Wrong place, wrong time, he said. Or maybe, she saw something she wasn't supposed to. A slow burn of anger started building inside me. So whoever framed her, they're part of this network. Caleb nodded. Exactly. He slid another file across the table. Name, Raymond Vale. Casino owner, Caleb said. Las Vegas. Legitimate business on the surface. But underneath, an empire. Open the file. Photos. Transactions. Connections. This man wasn't just rich. He controlled things. If Cross was the gateway, I said slowly, Then what is veil? Caleb smiled slightly. The king. Silence filled the room. To reach the king, I'd have to play like a pawn. What's the plan? Yes. You go in, Caleb said. Start low. Build trust. Climb. I held his gaze. And if I fall? He didn't hesitate. No one's coming to catch you. Fair enough. The next few days, I took my first step. New identity, Nix. New background. New story. Zara Collins was gone. I was a ghost. My entry point. Private poker club in Los Angeles. Illegal. Hidden. Connected to Veil's network. I walked in. Smoke in the air. Low lighting. Voices everywhere. But controlled. Everyone was hiding something. Including me. First night. I did nothing. Just watched. Patterns. Faces. Behavior. Second night. Played. Cards weren't cards. They were psychology. And I won. Consistently. Which made me noticeable. Third night. A man sat across from me. Dangerous. New face, he said. I smiled slightly. New luck. He didn't smile back. Luck doesn't last, he said. Skill does. Good thing I have both, I replied. He studied me for a few seconds, then said, Veil is watching you. Adrenaline hit. Should I be worried? I asked calmly. He tilted his head slightly. Depends. What do you want? I looked straight into his eyes. Access. Silence. He stood up. Then don't lose. And walked away. That night, I won every game. On purpose. Because this wasn't about money anymore. This was about attention. And I was getting it. But as I stepped outside, my phone vibrated. Unknown signal. Encrypted. One line appeared. You're walking into a trap. Froze. Heartbeat slowed. That wasn't Caleb. Then who? The message blinked. And deleted itself. But it left one thing behind. Signature. Ghost. I slowly locked my phone. This game wasn't just between visible players anymore. Someone was watching. From the shadows. Maybe guiding me. Or pushing me. Exactly where they wanted. I looked back at the building. Lights flashing. Music playing. But now I saw the truth. This wasn't a club. It was a door. And I had already stepped inside. There was no going back. Because in this game, you're either the prey or the predator. And that night, I made my decision. I wasn't going to be prey. The next few days, I stayed quiet. Waited. Getting into Veil's network wasn't easy. But I had already made myself visible. I needed to turn their curiosity into a trap. After the third night, got the call. Same club. But this time, basement level. No music, no laughter, just silence. And security. 2 men escorted me inside. Heavy door opened. And there he was. Raymond Veil. More dangerous than his photos. Controlled. And his eyes. They didn't look at people. They read them. Nix, he said softly. I stepped forward. Sir. He smiled faintly. You win a lot, he said. And new players are either very lucky or very dangerous. I'm not lucky, I replied. His smile deepened. Good. I don't like lucky people. Silence. What do you want? He asked. This was the moment. Could lie. Play safe. But I didn't. Access. He didn't blink. Access to what? I met his eyes. The system. The room went silent. Veil laughed softly. Do you even understand what you're asking? Yes. And if I say no, I'll get it from someone else. For the first time, interest flashed in his eyes. Dangerous interest. Do you know who you're talking to? Yes. A man who doesn't run the system, but controls it. Silence. Then he tapped the table slowly. Impressive. His voice turned cold. But the problem is, I already know who you are. Everything inside me froze. But I didn't react. Zara Collins. My heartbeat skipped. The game had changed. Your sister. Ellie Collins. Life sentence. He looked at me. Tragic. I stayed silent. 'Cause this wasn't chess anymore. This was survival. You're here for revenge, he said. I'm here for the truth, I replied. He tilted his head. What's the difference? I held his gaze. The truth is more dangerous. He watched me for a few seconds, then slowly, clap. You're interesting. He signaled someone. The screen turned on. And what I saw stopped my breath. Video. But not the footage shown in court. A different angle. And this time, she wasn't alone. Someone stood in the shadows, injecting something into her. My fists clenched. Memory loss, Vale said casually. Clean trick. Rage burned through me. Did you do this? Yes. He laughed. I don't do small jobs. Then he leaned forward. I design games, not play them. Everything started connecting. Then who's the player? Yes. Vale didn't answer directly. He said one name. Ghost. The room felt colder. He's watching you, Vale said. Guiding you. And maybe, slight smile, using you. My breathing slowed. So this was never my game. I wasn't the player. I was a piece. On someone else's board. But still, I didn't back down. I looked straight at Vale. Then I'll find him. Vale nodded slowly. Everyone tries. Then he said one final line. But Ghost only shows himself when the game is about to end. Vale's words echoed in my mind. The game was about to end. But this time, I was the one writing the ending. That night, I made a decision. I wouldn't just expose the truth. I would destroy them, using their own rules. The next 48 hours, I disappeared. No contact with Caleb. No activity on any network. But in reality, I was everywhere. I broke into Vale's entire system. Every file. Every transaction. Every secret. Blackmail footage. Illegal deals. Hidden accounts. And then, I set a trigger. Silent one. Trap. That would activate at the perfect moment. Location. The same warehouse. Where it all began. One by one. They arrived. Vale. His men. People from the network. And then, Caleb. He walked in. Looked straight at me. You've changed, he said. Smiled. You taught me. The tension in the room was heavy. Vale stepped forward angry. What is this? He demanded. I answered calmly. Closure. And in that moment, the lights went out. The screen turned on. But this time, it wasn't just files leaking. It was live. Everything. Already out. Authorities. Media. Every secret. Expose. Panic spread through the room. You destroyed us. Vale shouted. I looked at him. No, I said quietly. I showed the world who you really are. Then I added. You'll destroy yourselves. Vale ran toward the door. He signaled his men. Open it. But the system wasn't theirs anymore. It was mine. I turned to Caleb. Still think you're running the game? Yes. He didn't answer. But for the first time, there was uncertainty in his eyes. Ghost, I said softly. The room froze. Every head turned toward him. He tried to laugh. You can't prove. I already did. I cut him off. The screen changed. Video played. Caleb. Lee. The injection. The truth. His face changed. The game was over. But I didn't hand him to the police. I did something worse. I sent his secrets, his hidden accounts, his deals, to his own network. Slowly, everyone in the room turned toward him. He wasn't Ghost anymore. He was the target. He looked at me. You killed me, he said quietly. I shook my head. No. I gave you exactly what you gave others. Fear. Sirens echoed outside. The system had collapsed. Vale's empire was gone. And Caleb, was trapped in the darkness he created. A few weeks later, Ellie's case was reopened. False evidence, tampering. Everything was proven. She was getting out. I stood at a distance. In the shadows, she walked out. Sunlight touched her face. Free. She looked around, like she was searching for me. But I didn't step forward. Because I wasn't part of her world anymore. I belonged somewhere else now. A world where monsters live. I turned and walked into the dark. My name was Zara Collins. People know me by another name. And remember, they framed my sister. I buried them in their own game. If this story felt real to you, don't forget to like, subscribe for more stories like this. And tell me, was I wrong?